If you have a side hustle or small business, you could qualify to get up to $10,000 via the EIDL grant program, which is coming back in 2 different parts. Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Over 60% of Americans have some form of a side hustle, and you could get an extra stimulus check of between $1,000 and $10,000. For some of you, if you already have, you can actually get more. We'll talk about those details. If you have a small business or side hustle. Now keep this in mind. Maybe you already have a job. Maybe you work at Apple, you're an engineer, you're a cop, you're a firefighter, but on the side, you drive Uber, you do eBay and you make a profit, you day trade, you do photography, whatever. You've got some kind of side hustle where you're making money. Heck, maybe even you're a landlord. You could probably qualify as a small business to receive an additional $10,000 or as low as $1,000, and we'll talk about those details, as a completely free small business grant. This program is coming back. If you have already gotten a grant like this, there are going to be some special rules that mean only some of you are going to actually get a second check or sort of a larger check. Let's explain exactly how this works. First, keep in mind that Congress has to pass the second stimulus package, which they are expected to do tonight. If you make money through a small business or side hustle, you're going to have 2 ways to get this new grant money. And I want to be very clear here. This is a grant. You do not need to take a loan. You don't have to accept a loan. This is not a forgivable loan. You don't need a corporation. You don't need an LLC. You don't need anything special. All you literally need is you, your taxpayer identification number, and you saying that you make money from some kind of side hustle. Under the table money probably isn't going to work because there's a new provision now that they might check your tax return, okay? But if this sounds like you and you want free money and you want more of a stimulus check than the $600 crap they're giving us, and you have a side hustle, this is for you. All right. Method number 1, and I'm going to go through 2 methods here. So if the first one doesn't sound like it's you, we'll stay for method number 2. Okay, very important. All right, method number 1. You can get a full $10,000, no matter how many employees you have, even if you don't have any employees. You can get a full $10,000, even if you've already previously gotten $1,000, let's say, as a grant. You could get that rounded up to $10,000 if you are located in a low-income community, and you've suffered an economic loss of greater than 30% for an 8-week period, and you have 300 or fewer employees. So let's unpackage this. The first thing you have to know is what a low-income community is. If you are not in a low-income community, this method won't work. You're going to have to go on to method number 2, which we're going to get to in like 30 seconds, so hang tight. So to determine whether you are in a low-income community, you can look at this screen right here, take a screenshot of this. A low-income community is an area where the poverty rate of a tract is at least 20%. So if you're in an area where the poverty rate is 20%, boom, low-income community. Or the income in your neighborhood or county is less than 80% of either the state median income or the county median income. If you read this and you pause, it'll make more sense. But for right now, this is what you do if you're going for method number 1. You have to determine that you are in a low-income community. If you are, check. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to determine between March 2nd, 2020 and December 31st, 2021, this area right here, you want to look at different 8-week periods. So we shouldn't even draw in that whole segment here. We're going to look at just one specific 8-week period in this range right here. So let's say right here, that's 8 weeks. If our income right here in this 8-week period was 30% lower than our income in an 8-week period before March 2nd, but in 2019 or the beginning of 2020, then you qualify for part number 2 and you're good. That means you can now qualify for up to $10,000 as an individual business owner. So you don't need to have 10 employees. It could literally be you alone, and you could get up to $10,000. If you've already gotten an EIDL grant of, let's say, $1,000, they didn't give you the full 10 because you said you had 1 employee, but you qualify for this, you'll be able to appeal to the SBA and say, give me my full 10 grand, and they will send you an extra $9,000. If you got 2, they send you an extra 8. You just have to qualify for, again, the poverty rate or the income for your area and that 8-week reduction in income. Just 8 weeks. That's all they're going to look at. That's how you're going to get a full $10,000 of completely free money that you do not have to pay back. That is method number 1. All right. Now let's move over into method number 2. For method number 2, what they're doing is they're actually providing, and this morning I didn't see this segment, or this section, so this is new information. This is great. They are going to provide an extra $20 billion into the pot, opening up the EIDL portal again. This provides up to $10,000. It's very likely that the SBA is going to say they're going to give you $1,000 per employee, just like the last time. If you have already gotten an EIDL grant, I do not believe you are going to be able to apply again. So you're not going to be able to double dip. But if you have not gotten the EIDL grant, you can apply and try to get that $1,000 per employee. Remember what I mentioned earlier. You are your own employee of your business, so you are one. If your wife works with you, you have 2 employees. You pop that into the form, you should get $2,000, $1,000 per employee. We expect this to reopen up. I'm sure we'll get more guidance and rules from the SBA, but this is what's in the bill. They've got 2 methods to get money here. Method number 1, again, 30% decline and low-income community. You can get up to $10,000 no matter how many employees you have. The second method is probably going to be $1,000 per employee. So you're going to want to pay attention to this no matter which method you're in, unless you've already gotten a grant and you don't qualify for Section 1, then you're probably not going to get any more EIDL money. But otherwise, you're going to want to pay attention to updates from the SBA on this because these are some big changes here. And this morning, I only read the targeted EIDL portion, but there is also a regular EIDL portion. So that is a good update. There is also a change for those of you who got the PPP. If you got the PPP previously, your forgiveness was actually, let's say you got a $10,000 PPP loan, they would subtract whatever EIDL grant you got from your forgiveness. Well, this new bill actually repeals that. So if you got the PPP and the EIDL grant, you get full forgiveness and the EIDL grant, which is kind of neat. So those are the changes that we have so far on EIDL grants in this bill. This section literally took me 3 hours to digest. This was a lot. If you found this helpful, make sure to share this with somebody that you think would benefit from this. Now, in order to apply for these programs and the application period, this bill hasn't even passed yet, right? So we're a little bit premature. But I do see that the application is open for this. I imagine the application is going to have to change a lot, especially if you're trying to go with method number 1. If you're trying to go with method number 2, the application might be the same thing. But the application is up at covid19relief.sba.gov. It is going to end up being first come, first serve. I'm not sure if they're going to do a whole new application once this bill passes, so we will see. Either way, covid19relief.sba.gov. If that's too hard to remember because you're driving or whatever, just go to metkevin.com/1000, and it just redirects you to covid19relief.sba.gov. So that's everything we know about the EIDL grants in the stimulus package number 2. Bottom line of all of this whole thing, if you're in a low-income community and your income's gone down 30% for 8 weeks, you can get up to $10,000 even if it's just you working a side hustle, which is awesome. If you've already gotten an EIDL grant and you're not in a low-income community, you're done. You're not going to get another one, I don't believe. I do not think you're going to get another one. Stay tuned to these updates. I'll let you know if it changes, but there's nothing in the text that indicates we can double dip. Unless you're in that low-income community where you can now appeal to round up. Even if you didn't get a grant in the past, but you're in a low-income community and you have that 30% decline, you could get the full $10,000. That method number 1 is really great, really liberal for providing that full $10,000. Method number 2 works if you've never gotten the grant in the past and you want to now get the grant. Perfect. That's what we got in this video. Again, if you found it helpful, consider sharing, consider subscribing, and folks, we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.